I've been reverse engineering the news for 20 years now, right? And there's usually an alternative motive or something extra that's included in their plans, in their television, and their programming. So what I've been noticing is the agenda lately has been alien disclosure, ET disclosure. There's high-level officials coming out, lobbyists, senators like Harry Reid, that has talked to people that were part of the Stars Academy. I know a lot of people believe that CIA and alphabet agencies are heavily involved with a lot of the disclosure right now, controlled disclosure. And that doesn't mean that it's not real, it just means it's like controlled. They want to control the narrative like everything else. I question it. Now, with the Space Force, with people applying for the Space Force, with China's military getting heavily involved with space and the moon, it's like the next frontier, so it all seems to be going together. But absolutely, I believe in extraterrestrials, life that is non-human. And I think a lot of stuff we're seeing, though, could be civilizations that were us, like our ancestors. I don't think it's all aliens. When you watch Ancient Aliens and Ancient Astronauts, I mean, they're going to blame curly hair on aliens. They're going to blame the style of that bed on aliens. I mean, it's all aliens. Well, I call bullshit. I think that the majority of it is our ancestors. Now, some of it could be alien, absolutely. You get into the Roswell case, and the people that I've talked to on and off air, those beings definitely seem non-human. And they're designed for interstellar travel. They're also kind of like a manufactured species. So I don't think they're the ones that made the craft. I think whoever made the craft also made those beings to pilot the craft, and they could use them as a drone, kind of like when you take your drone out or aerial camera, you're looking through your VR headset or you're looking on the screen. Be very similar, but they could use the quantum connection with their DNA. One of the reasons I'm so passionate about this, and I've shared this before, is one of my first memories I have, if not the first memory, is of something looking at me and just observing me that wasn't human. I'm not saying it was even, maybe it was a dream, maybe it was a lucid dream, I don't know, but it certainly seemed real, and I thought that they were like three beings from Return of the Jedi. As I was growing up, I asked my parents later in life, like, did we have life-size Star Wars figures? And they're like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, well, because I remember these life-size Star Wars figures in my room, and they're like, huh? So they had no idea what I was talking about, but my mind connected whatever I saw to these beings because I saw Return of the Jedi, I saw Star Wars, I saw Empire Strikes Back, and something was looking at me and observing me that was non-human. And I think it could have been insectoid-like, possibly. Yeah, because I saw, like, literally the day before I was born, my mom watched Star Wars at the movie theater, right? So I've always been a huge fan of Star Wars. And so my belief is whatever I saw, whether it was a dream or whether it was out of the dream, I had to connect it to something because I had never seen anything like that. It's not a screen memory. It's more of just my mind trying to process what it was that I saw. And so later in life, when I saw Return of the Jedi, which was the third edition of the Star Wars series, and there's that scene where the insectoid beings are playing instruments, and they're like, da, 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 and one of them's got like these weird looking antenna things. That's kind of what I remember seeing. But I think there was three of them. And what's interesting is, I've seen petroglyphs, and I saw this statue at Göbekli Tepe that was uncovered on Project Camelot that looked almost like a mantis being holding a child, and that kind of resonated with me. I was like, whoa, that being looks familiar. I think that's what I saw. Something that was more shaped like an ant head or a mantis head. But I don't know, man. But for whatever reason, I've just always been fascinated with that. And I've always been different, right? I've never been into, I just shouldn't say never, but the majority of my life, I've not been into what most people are into. I've been like looking for the alternative story or the underlying truth and the root. And I almost wonder if it's my DNA or if it's just my imagination, But I was talking to my mom the other day, and I remembered when I was born, they pulled me out. They like pulled me out with like a tool, and I had a black eye when I was born. And then when I was 5, I had a seizure, and so I had to get these EEGs every year. And then I had a fever at that age. It was like 107, so I almost like, and I had all these major head traumas. So maybe it's just a head injury, man. Maybe I just had, maybe I got landed on my head too many times. When I was 11, I almost died from a bike wreck, and so, or maybe it twisted my brain a little bit and adjusted it to where I could see things that sometimes people don't necessarily see. I don't know, man. It's a trip, but for whatever reason, I've always been searching for the bigger picture, and I feel like it's connected to that experience that I had. People that I know now, that we've got these like serendipitous matrix synchronicities. So I don't think that they took me on a ship or anything like that. I don't think I was abducted. It was almost like I was just being observed, right? And once again, it doesn't mean they're aliens. They could be spirits. They could be a multitude of things. It doesn't necessarily mean they're extraterrestrial. But I have friends, really good friends, that have seen similar beings. And one of my friends calls them the cockroach people. And he's like, whenever you talk to him about ETs, he thinks ETs are usually, the majority of people get abducted or have experiences with ETs. He thinks the majority of it is MK Ultra stuff. And he absolutely could be right. I don't agree with him on everything, but that's what I appreciate about our relationship, is we can have a conversation without agreeing, and still learn from each other. But so people that I know, when they see these pictographs and petroglyphs and statues, will reference it to the electric universe, like it's what our ancestors saw in the heavens, like a planetary alignment or a solar event or a comet or some type of aurora borealis situation, plasma event, stuff like that. And I absolutely believe a lot of that is the case. And I think that the original gods oftentimes probably were associated with the planets and planetary alignments. But it seems when these catastrophic events take place, there are beings that are talked about that show up and help pockets of humanity through these cataclysms, like the Hopi prophecy. And it's interesting how people that I know that have had these experiences, I end up meeting them, and then we end up like this person I'm talking about lives in Pagosa Springs too, which is really ironic. My address is the same as his street that he's on. It's just weird things, right? So it's like, how does all this stuff happen? Is it just coincidence, or are we given certain packets of information that then unfold, and later in life we start to connect and hook up? It's like it's all designed almost, or orchestrated at higher levels. And then I've got another friend that I just met a couple years ago that's got the same name, that lives in Pennsylvania, very successful, and he says he remembers as a kid, he used to see something similar, and he called him Timothy the Tooth.
When imagination is your passport to adventure,
here goes.
You can be anyone. You can go anywhere. And the fun...
Which is like, if you look at Timothy the Tooth, it's this old tooth from the 60s, I think, that looks like an alien. It's just so bizarre. Are these beings coming out at specific times to prepare us for this solar flare or some major event that's going to take place? And I question that, because all the stuff that we're uncovering right now with the petroglyphs and the geological aspects and the grand solar minimum and the change in the weather and politics and government and these biblical prophecies that are unfolding right now, it just seems to be all connected. And maybe we have specific functions to perform while we're here, so we're given certain information at a certain time in our life to progress when we need to, because they're not looking at things through a linear timeline such as we are. They see it all happening at once, so they can be in certain places at certain times to help people progress. And I think there's a multitude of beings and species. I think that whatever happened with these atomic weapons and the Greys and Lamb and Crowley and Parsons and the nuclear testing off the 33rd degree parallel and the Trinity site. I think that they're doing more than just nuclear explosions. There's a lot of evidence suggesting that they're actually messing with the fabric of time and space itself. So something happened there. But I believe that we have been in contact with species for thousands of years. I mean, read the ancient texts of the ancient Babylon and Sumer and the Gnostics and the Hebrew texts. Clearly there was something that was watching over us, the watchers, the fallen ones. Are they really fallen angels? No, I think that they were space travelers with high-level technologies that fell in love with Earth and Earth women, and they're like, well, they're not going to let us back, so this is our domain now. And I think some of them have gone astray, and since they can't get out of this, they feel like they're just going to do whatever they can to destroy and pillage and take what is rightfully what they feel theirs. But then there's pockets that are trying to protect us, and we're just in this intergalactic, interstellar battle. And they want our soul. That's how I'm looking at things right now. So maybe a lot of it has to do with, let's say we've done this before, right? So we're walking in our past footsteps, or we're given these warnings and these messages, and the synchronization is happening so that we can realize what we've gone through in the past, and we can talk about it and prepare for it, and hopefully live through it, so that way we can rebuild if there is a cap. Yeah, I mean, there definitely seems to be kind of like a puzzle where you've got these pieces that are put together at specific times, and the timelines and the way it all adds up. It would definitely be you asked some great questions, it would be to the benefit of human civilization to be able to travel to these other planets. And the question is, the technologies they're showing us with the rockets, is it old technology? Are they using these patents or technology in the patents that we're seeing that the Navy is releasing, like anti-gravity type stuff, where something the size of this table could power an entire civilization for hundreds of years, if not longer? I don't know, man. We've just been told so much nonsense, and they've lied to us about so many things. It's difficult to, well, I guess, let's put it this way. If it's on the mainstream news, there's an agenda. That's not difficult. You need to know that. And so if you figure that out, then you can just kind of ask yourself, okay, what's the agenda? Money, control. And you brought something else up. If these other species and beings can survive in cataclysmic events better than humanity, well, it would benefit the powers that be, if they are connected to certain dark forces, to lower the population as much as possible, so they could control the population of humanity while these other species flourished and thrived. But it also appears to me that they want to merge us with the machine. So our pineal gland and our soul is the real gold. When you read about the Anunnaki traveling to Earth to harvest gold, certainly that could very well be true, but also I think that the real gold is your soul, and that's the ultimate prize. Insectoid-like, possibly, but I still am not sure what it was. What was that?
That was my droid. Hold on. Sorry.
That was freaking loud.
Yeah, that's messed up. I'm sorry.
That was great, man. Perfect timing.
Yeah, damn it.
And if not, then rock and roll. We can still go to the coffee shop, and we can still go spend $8 on a quad shot, whatever, with hemp milk, and then go to the dispensary after. Hello. But no, man, it was fascinating, right? This is amazing to talk about this kind of stuff. And maybe another thing I was thinking about is if we're being influenced from from inner Earth, like we're the drones, right? So they're like, to start reptilian talking and stuff. We've got Ransom with the Nikon P1000.
Yeah.
Maybe, like, have you ever looked at your cat and you're just like, is that a fucking Anunnaki spy?
I have. I have thought similar thoughts to that.
What is that doing? What is it telling people? Just having some fun.
Yeah.
Or am I?